If you're thinking about making a move to Orange County and you're looking on the coast, these two cities are probably on your list. This is Huntington Beach and Newport Beach. They're right next to each other and they've got a ton of differences. So in this video, we're going to break that down, and these are on your list. This should make your choice maybe a little bit easier, help you narrow things down. And my name is Christian. I'm a team leader, owner of Onyx Homes, which is a real estate sales team that helps hundreds of people move all over Southern California every single year. So if you want to reach out to us, you always can by going to allaboutoc.com. But let's go ahead and dive into the video here. The first thing I have is the size. So population size and actual just size of the two different areas. Now, Newport Beach is almost 53 square miles, whereas Huntington Beach is 32 square miles, roughly. So Newport Beach is way larger than Huntington Beach is. And honestly, being living here my whole life, I wouldn't have expected that. Now, I'm going to pull up a map here in a second. However, I wanted to talk about population because this paints an interesting picture as well. I would have assumed this, but not nearly to the extent of these numbers that I'm looking at here. Is the population of Newport Beach is just over 82,000, whereas the population for Huntington Beach is 192,000. So there's 100,000, there's almost more than double the amount of people in Huntington versus Newport. Now, yeah, Newport Beach is larger, but with that much population in Huntington Beach, like that much more, really what comes down, and if you drive through either of these cities when you're visiting Orange County, if you're driving around, you're just going to feel that Newport Beach is just way more spread out. The streets feel larger, the neighborhoods are farther apart from each other, the homes are farther apart than each other. There's a lot more open space versus Huntington Beach is, I mean, there is no open space at all. Houses are on top of not that they're on top of each other, like some are more spread out, but there's just no open space at all. And I want to share this with you by going to our website. So I'm going to go to our website, onyxhomes.com, and I'm going to share my screen. All right, so on our website, I'm going to go up here and click the search button. And I'm going to go, so we've got all of Orange County pulled up. And if I zoom out, we've got LA to the north, San Diego to the south, and then Riverside County to the east. Now, Huntington Beach and Newport Beach are right next to each other. You can't see Huntington's name there, but Huntington and Newport are right next to each other, and then kind of sandwiched in the middle you have Newport. So let's do this. Let's select just Newport Beach first so that we can see the size of it. So we can see Newport Beach is right here, just east or west rather of Santa Ana Airport, so John Wayne, and then north of Laguna Beach. And then Huntington is just to the north of Newport Beach. So now I'm going to go in, type in Huntington Beach. I feel like I spell Huntington wrong every single time. Huntington Beach. So let's pull up both of these. So you can see Huntington Beach is much more north and south. Newport's a little bit more, obviously it's smaller, but it's a little bit, it's not, no, it's not. They're both the same. Both of them are all west of the 405 freeway, so these are coastal cities for sure. But you can just see from this kind of view here that Huntington is definitely larger. Now, if I zoom in and we look at Newport, right, on the south side, you've got a lot of green area here. You've got, obviously, there's a huge green area here that is, Shady Canyon, the Laguna Coast, Crystal Cove. There's a lot of green here to the south of Newport. And then you have kind of the Back Bay area that runs in East Bluff, and then you have the harbor, obviously, as well, too. You're going to see a lot more green here than you will see when we go over to Huntington. Just doesn't really have a whole lot at all, to be honest. Huntington Beach also has a harbor as well, too. That's one thing that's unique to, maybe not unique, but there's only so many harbors in Orange County, and you've got one in Huntington, you've got one in Newport, and the only other one you have is a much smaller one down in Dana Point. So as far as location and everything, if we just zoom in and look at Huntington, I'm getting the names mixed up. If you're looking at Huntington, you can just see that there's a lot of homes, there's a lot of streets, so the population's significantly higher. All right, so that's kind of the size and population for Huntington. Let's talk a little bit more about location. So on the map, Huntington is North Orange County, right? There's not really anything north of Huntington. You've got Seal Beach, which is a very small beach town, and then you go right into Long Beach. So this area here, Huntington, is really about as far north as you're going to get in Orange County, outside of Seal Beach, of course. Now, Garden Grove, Anaheim, Cypress. So Huntington Beach is considered North Orange County, whereas Newport Beach is right on kind of that line. Irvine is what I consider to be the central hub. It really is the central hub for Orange County. And as far as convenience goes, Newport's going to be a little bit more convenient to get to, unless you were like coming from LA, for example, than it would be not, I guess, just because Newport's farther south. But from a convenience standpoint, you have the 55 freeway, which basically cuts east and west through Orange County. So if you were coming through the 5, if you were coming from, the Inland Empire, you would cut through, and it's just easier to get to Newport Beach because you have the 55, you have the 405, and you have the 73 toll road as well too. So you can get, obviously you have PCH that runs through both of them, but if you're going to Huntington, you really just have the 405 freeway, and then you would have basically side streets to get to PCH. Other than, I guess, the only main highway that it's not really a highway, is the 39, which is the Beach Boulevard. And this is, I don't know, maybe a 4-lane, if I remember correctly. So it's a major road, but it's not like a freeway like the 55 freeway is. So convenience-wise, Newport is a little bit more convenient to go around and to get to rather than Huntington. All right, so as far as locations, populations, we got that out of the way. Now, the elephant in the room is the price difference. So Huntington Beach is one of the most affordable coastal cities in Orange County, whereas Newport is the most expensive. As of the time that I'm filming this, in the last 30 days, the median home price for Huntington, for example, is $1.3 million, whereas the median home price for Newport is $3.2, which that's actually quite a bit lower than we see this up in the $4 and $5 million range, depending on what homes actually sell. So just by this number, even though it's low for Newport, Newport's 3 times more expensive basically than Huntington is. Now, this is, if you don't know Orange County, this might seem a little bit surprising. They're literally right next to each other. Why is Newport so much more expensive? It really comes down to the real estate that's there, obviously. You just have one very, very big difference between the two, as far as just real estate goes. If I go back to the map here, Huntington, and it's impossible to tell by the map, but I'll try to explain this as best I can. Huntington Beach is completely flat. So you have ocean view literally only on like the first row, maybe 2 rows of houses all throughout the coast. And all of this is flat. So you could be a 5-minute bike ride from the beach and have 0 ocean view whatsoever. And obviously you have the harbor where you're going to have a little bit of differences there. The other part is for Newport Beach, one, it's more central, which just gets you more value there to begin with. But especially the south side of Newport Beach, Newport Coast, down here where you have Crystal Cove, you have Pelican Hill and Pacific Ridge. This is all a big hillside, right? There's a pretty significant mountainside. So all of this has ocean views. I mean, significant ocean views. You also have the Back Bay, which, I mean, this isn't the ocean, but East Bluff is a very, very popular. It's off of the coast, so it's not nearly as expensive. But you do have some amazing real estate here as well, too, and there's water views also. And then you just have it's just the way that it's laid out. The harbor up for Newport, it just allows for so much more ocean view than what you see in Huntington. Huntington is just very flat, and Newport is just very perfectly slanted on a map like this. From Shady Canyon over, it's kind of slanted all the way like this up to the ocean, to where you just have tons of ocean view from Newport Beach. That, with it being more central, that makes a huge difference. The lot sizes, generally speaking, are larger. The homes are way larger, and I'm speaking very general sense, right? You have smaller homes in both areas, but as far as what they're known for, Huntington is known for more smaller homes, kind of right next to each other, more suburbs, versus Newport is definitely more very high-end, larger streets, larger everything, newer property, higher end stuff. So that's why there's one of the 100 reasons why Newport is just so much more expensive than Huntington Beach. Now that leads us kind of right into the next major point, which is the lifestyle. So if you were to take these cities and say they were a really long distance apart, wouldn't be surprising. They're really totally different. If I'm to totally just stereotype Huntington Beach versus Newport Beach is very, very affluent. Not that they both are, but Newport is like very affluent, very ritzy, very high-end, very luxury. You're gonna think Rolls Royce is driving around, Mercedes, Bentleys and all that stuff. That's like what you think when you think of Newport Beach. Versus when I think Huntington Beach, I think of Toyota Tacoma pickup with surfboards in the back. Like that's the like a beach bummy kind of vibe and feel that you get in Huntington Beach, versus Newport Beach being very posh high end, I think is like the stereotypes of either area. Now, don't get me wrong, there's really nice in both. Like, you could live in Newport and be a beach bum. It's not like that, but they're very different lifestyles. So if you're looking at that, that's going to be one of the biggest differences. Now, realistically, they both have harbors. They both have good. They're both coastal. They're both in, you know, Central and North Orange County. So there's just a lot of similarities, but they're so different. Like, lifestyle-wise, they're incredibly different. So the biggest differences between the two is obviously just overall lifestyle. You're likely to be more towards the Newport lifestyle, or more towards the kind of the beach bum lifestyle, if you will. Huntington, I really can't think of a different way to explain them. Not that there's anything wrong either way. It's just they're very different. And your cities that you would look in, here is an interesting segue, is if you were looking at Newport and you like that lifestyle, you will probably also gravitate more towards Dana Point. If you like Huntington Beach, you will probably also gravitate more to San Clemente. I think those two comparisons, San Clemente and Dana Point, have a very similar difference in dynamic that you would see in Newport and Huntington as well. And frankly, one city south of Newport is Laguna Beach, which is more similar to Seal Beach. So those are the kind of the differences there. Now, this video doesn't go into a ton of detail, but there's such different cities that if you're just doing research and you're thinking, well, gosh, Huntington is so much cheaper than Newport, there's a lot of reasons for that, where if you're looking for that more posh lifestyle, I suppose that's definitely more Newport. There's definitely places in Huntington that cater to that, but being very general speaking in those terms, that's really the major difference. Now, if you're watching this video and you're thinking, okay, I love coastal Orange County, but I definitely want something more on the affordable side, this next video here is the 5 major reasons why people move to Huntington Beach. So if you found this video helpful at all, go ahead and click the like button, subscribe to the channel. We put out 2 to 3 videos like this every single week, and I'll see you in the next video on Huntington Beach.